All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. I pray everybody's doing well. Hopefully, I can be heard. We're going to play a little bit of this without much further ado because the night has been moving. It is 9:30. If you are listening to this live, hold on, let me just make sure I can be heard. Has been moving. Yep, I can be heard. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and jump into this. We're picking up, this is the third session. There has been a lot going on. If you miss it, you're going to have to listen to the other two episodes. You can put your thoughts in the chat box as it's going along. And when we get to the end, we'll have a little discussion about what it is that we've heard. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And now that we can hear, let's go ahead and get into it, shall we?
Dear God, now we all know she going sometime soon. They sleep together at night. Not every night, but almost every night, from Friday to Monday. He go down to Harpo's to watch her sing and just to look at her. Then way late they come home. They giggle and they talk and they wrestle until morning. Then they go to bed until it's time for her to get ready to go back to work. First time it happened, it was an accident. Feeling just carried them away. That's what Suge say. He don't say nothing. She asked me, "Tell me the truth," she say. "Do you mind if Albert sleep with me?" I think, I don't care who Albert sleep with. But I don't say that. I say, "You might get big again." She said, "No, not with my sponge and all." "You still love him?" I asked. She say, "I got what you call a passion for him. If I was ever going to have a husband, he'd have been it. But he weak," she say. "Can't make up his mind what he want. And from what you tell me, he a bully. Some things I love about him, though," she say. "He smell right to me. He's so little. He make me laugh." "You like to sleep with him?" I asked. "Yeah, Celie," she say. "I have to confess, I just love it. Don't you?" "No," I say. "Mister can tell you, I don't like it at all." "What is it to like?" "He get up on you, heist your nightgown round your waist, plunge in. Most times I pretend I ain't there. He never know the difference. Never ask me how I feel. Nothing. Just do his business, get off, go to sleep." She start to laugh. "Do his business," she say. "Do his business? Why, Miss Celie, you make it sound like he going to the toilet on you." "That what it feel like," I say. She stopped laughing. "You never enjoy it at all?" she asked, puzzled. "Not even with your children's daddy?" "Never," I say. "Why, Miss Celie," she say.
This summer, dress to chill in Foamies by Skechers.
my apologies. Yo, I didn't even. I'm listening to it when y'all are listening to it. Yo, she's doing the most right now, fam. My apologies. They could be children. This part right here, she's doing the most. Hold on, I didn't screen this portion of the conversation. Yo, she is doing the absolute most. This part was not in the movie. Okay, I'm over here listening, and what you call it? She's doing the most. Hold on, peoples, because this is YouTube after all. Wait, hold on, because it has some words here. Hold on, my apologies. Hold on.
She'll come over and she and Sophia hug.
But she's
She'll
doing the
say,
most. See, this is how
girl,
people get caught up.
you look like a
Oh, wait a minute.
good time. You do. That when I notice how Suge talk and act sometimes like a man. Men say stuff like that to women. Girl, you look like a good time. Women always talk about hair and health, how many babies living or dead or got teeth. Not about how some woman they're hugging on look like a good time. All the men got their eyes glued to Suge's bosom. I got my eyes glued there too. I feel my nipples harden under my dress. My little buttons sort of perk up too.
Okay, yo, hold on,
Suge,
Brethren.
I say
Hold
to
on,
her,
Brethren. I want the backside of going Sealy. No wonder they was making noise like this. Yo, Brethren, hold on. I can't advocate. Okay, she's ODing here. My apologies, people. My apologies.
running down her chin. Harpo and Sophia stand side by side looking down at Squeak, but I don't think they hear her. Harpo still holding Sophia's arm. Maybe half a minute go by. Finally, he turned loose her arm, reached down and cradled poor little Squeak in his arms. He coo and coo at her like she a baby. Sophia come over and get the prize fighter. They go out the door and don't look back. Then us hear a car motor start.
Yeah, for those who want to go through that part, or they went through that part, I never read that part, and this is the first time I'm hearing it. But we could have children on the line, so you're going to have to go through that part. But as we can see, that's the sexually explicit part that people are talking about. The inappropriate gestures that people are talking about for. So for that, I had to kind of like move through that a little bit.
Dear God, Harpo mope, wipe the counter, light a cigarette, look outdoors, walk up and down. Little Squeak run along all up under him, trying to get his attention. Baby this, she say, baby that. Harpo look through her head, blow smoke. Squeak come over to the corner where me and Mister at. She got 2 bright gold teeth in the side of her mouth, generally grin all the time. Now she cry. Miss Seeley, she say, what the matter with Harpo? Sophia in jail, I say. In jail? She look like I say Sophia on the moon. What's she in jail for? She asked. Sassing the mayor's wife, I say. Squeak pull up a chair, look down my throat. What's your real name? I asked her. She said, Mary Agnes. Make Harpo call you by your real name, I say. Then maybe he see you, even when he trouble. She look at me puzzled. I let it go. I tell her what one of Sophia's sisters tell me and Mister. Sophia and the prize fighter and all the children got in the prize fighter car and went to town. Clam out on the street looking like somebody. Just then the mayor and his wife come by. All these children, say the mayor's wife, digging in her pocketbook. Cutest little buttons, though, she say. She stopped, put her hand on one of the children's head. Say, and such strong white teeth. Sophia and the prize fighter don't say nothing. Wait for her to pass. Mayor wait, too. Stand back and tap his foot. Watch her with a little smile. Now, Millie, he say, always going on over-colored. Miss Millie fingered the children some more, finally look at Sophia and the prize fighter. She look at the prize fighter car. She eye Sophia wristwatch. She say to Sophia, "All your children so clean," she say. "Would you like to work for me? Be my maid?" Sophia say, "Hell no." She say, "What you say?" Sophia say, "Hell no." Mayor look at Sophia, push his wife out the way, stick out his chest. "Girl, what you say to Miss Millie?" Sophia say, "I say, hell no." He slap her. I stop telling it right there. Squeak on the edge of her seat. She wait, look down my throat some more. "No need to say no more, Mr. Say. You know what happened if somebody slapped Sophia." Squeak go white as a sheet. "No," she say. "No, nothing," I say. "Sophia knocked the man down." The polices come, start slinging the children off the mayor, bang their heads together. Sophia really start to fight. They drag her to the ground. This far as I can go with it, look like. My eyes get full of water and my throat close. Poor Squeak all scrunched down in her chair, trembling. They beat Sophia, Mr. Say. Squeak fly up like she sprung, run over behind the counter to Harpo, put her arms round him. They hang together a long time, cry. "What the prize fighter do in all this?" I asked Sophia's sister Odessa. "He want to jump in," she say. Sophia say, "No, take the children home." Polices have their guns on him anyway. One move, he dead. 6 of them, you know. Mister go plead with the sheriff to let us see Sophia. Bub be in so much trouble, look so much like the sheriff. He and Mister almost on family terms, just long as Mister know he colored. Sheriff say, "She a crazy woman, your boy's wife. You know that?" Mister say, "Yes, sir, us do know it. Been trying to tell Harpo she crazy for 12 years, since way before they marry. Sophia come from crazy peoples, Mister say. It's not all her fault. And then again, the sheriff know how women's is anyhow. Sheriff think about the women he know. Say, yep, you right there." Mister say, "We gonna tell her she crazy too, if us ever do get in to see her." Sheriff say, "Well, make sure you do, and tell her she lucky she alive." When I see Sophia, I don't know why she's still alive. They crack her skull, they crack her ribs, they tear her nose loose on one side, they blind her in one eye, she's swole from head to foot. Her tongue, the size of my arm, is stick out between her teeth like a piece of rubber. She can't talk, and she's just about the color of an eggplant. Scare me so bad I near about drop my grip, but I don't. I put it on the floor of the cell, take out comb and brush, nightgown, witch hazel, and alcohol, and I start to work on her. The colored attendant bring me water to wash her with, and I started her 2 little slits for eyes. Dear God, they put Sophia to work in the prison laundry. All day long from 5 to 8 she washing clothes. Dirty convict uniforms, nasty sheets and blankets piled way over her head. Us see her twice a month for half an hour. Her face yellow and sickly. Her fingers look like fatty sausage. "Everything nasty here," she say, "even the air. Food bad enough to kill you with it. Roaches here, mice, flies, lice, and even a snake."
Quality always matters. And what quality items do I put in my Keto Thrive box? Well, let's take a look.
Snake or two. If you say anything, they strip you, make you sleep on a cement floor without a light. "How you manage?" us asked. Every time they ask me to do something, Miss Seeley, I act like I'm you. I jump right up and do just what they say. She looked wild when she say that, and her bad eye wander round the room. Mister suck in his breath. Harpo groan. Miss Shug cuss. She come from Memphis special to see Sophia. I can't fix my mouth to say how I feel. I'm a good prisoner, she say. Best convict they ever see. They can't believe I'm the one sassed the mayor's wife, knocked the mayor down. She laughed. It sounded like something from a song. The part where everybody done gone home, but you. 12 years a long time to be good, though, she say. Maybe you get out on good behavior, say Harpo. Good behavior ain't good enough for them, say Sophia. Nothing less than sliding on your belly with your tongue on their boots can even get their attention. I dream of murder, she say. I dream of murder, sleep or wake. Us don't say nothing. How the children, she asked. They all fine, say Harpo. Between Odessa and Squeak, they get by. Say thank you to Squeak, she say. Tell Odessa I think about her. Dear God, us all sit round the table after supper. Me, Shug, Mr. Squeak, the prize fighter, Odessa, and 2 more of Sophia's sisters. Sophia not gonna laugh, say Mister. Yeah, say Harpo, she look a little crazy to me. And what she had to say, say Shug, my God. Us got to do something, say Mister, and be right quick about it. What can us do? Asked Squeak. She looked a little haggard with all Sophia and Harpo cheering sprung on her at once, but she carry on. Hair a little stringy, slip show, but she carry on. Bust her out, say Harpo. Get some dynamite off the gang that's building that big bridge down the road. Blow the whole prison to kingdom come. Shut up, Harpo, say Mister. Us trying to think. I got it, say the prize fighter. Smuggle in a gun. Well, he rubbed his chin, maybe smuggle in a file. No, say Odessa. They just come after her if she leave that way. Me and Squeak don't say nothing. I don't know what she think, but I think about angels. God coming down by chariot, swinging down real low and carrying old Sophia home. I see 'em all as clear as day, angels all in white, white hair and white eyes, look like albinos. God all white, too, looking like some stout white man work at the bank. Angels strike their cymbals, one of them blow his horn. God blow out a big breath of fire, and suddenly Sophia free. Who the warden's black kinfolks? Say Mister. Nobody say nothing. Finally the prize fighter speak. What his name? He asked. Hodges, say Harpo. Bubba Hodges. Old man Henry Hodges' boy, say Mister. Used to live out on the old Hodges place. Got a brother named Jimmy? Asked Squeak. Yeah, say Mister. Brother named Jimmy. Married to that Quitman girl. Daddy owned the hardware. You know them? Squeak ducked her head, mumbled something. Say what? Asked Mister. Squeak cheek turned red. She mumbled again. He your what? Mister asked. Cousin, she say. Mister look at her. Daddy, she say. She cut her eye at Harpo, look at the floor. He know anything about it? Asked Mister. Yeah, she say. He got 3 children by my mama, 2 younger than me. His brother know anything about it? Asked Mister. One time he come by the house with Mr. Jimmy. He give us all quarters. Say we sure do look like Hodges. Mister reared back in his chair, give Squeak a good look from head to foot. Squeak pushed her greasy brown hair back from her face. Yeah, say Mister. I see the resemblance. He bring his chair down on the floor. Well, look like you the one to go. Go where? asked Squeak. Go see the warden. He your uncle. Dear God, us dressed Squeak like she a white woman, only her clothes patch. She got on a starch and iron dress, high-heel shoes with scuffs, and an old hat somebody give Shug. Us give her an old pocketbook, look like a quilt, and a little black Bible. Us wash her hair and get all the grease out, then I put it up in 2 plaits that cross over her head. Us bathe her so clean, she smell like a good, clean floor. What I'm gonna say? She asked. Say you living with Sophia's husband, and her husband say Sophia not being punished enough. Say she laugh at the fools she make of the guards. Say she getting along just fine where she at, happy even, long as she don't have to be no white woman maid. Gracious God, say Squeak, how I'm going to tune up my mouth to say all that? He asks who you is, make him remember. Tell him how much that quarter he give you meant to you. That was 15 years ago, say Squeak. He ain't going to remember that. Make him see the Hodges in you, say Odessa. He'll remember. Tell him you just think justice ought to be done yourself. But make sure he know you living with Sophia's husband, say Shug. Make sure you get in the part about being happy where she at. Worst thing could happen to her is to be some white lady maid. I don't know, say the prize fighter. This sound mighty much like some old Uncle Tomming to me. Shug snort. Well, she say, Uncle Tom wasn't called uncle for nothing. Dear God, poor little Squeak come home with a limp, her dress ripped, her hat missing, and one of the heels come off her shoe. What happened? Us asked. He saw the Hodges in me, she say, and he didn't like it one bit. Harpo come up the steps from the car. My wife beat up, my woman raped, he say. I ought to go back out there with guns, maybe set fire to the place, burn the crackers up. Shut up, Harpo, say Squeak. I'm telling it. And she do. Say, the minute I walked through the door, he remembered me. What'd he say? Us asked. Say, what you want? I say, I come out of the interest I have in seeing justice is done. What you say you want? He asked again. I say what y'all told me to say, about Sophia not being punished enough. Say she happy in prison, strong girl like her. Her main worry is just the thought of ever being some white woman maid. That would start the fight, you know, I say. Mayor's wife asked Sophia to be her maid. Sophia says she never going to be no white woman's nothing, let alone maid. That's so, he asks, all the time looking me over real good. Yes, sir, I say. Say prison suit her just fine. Shoot, washing and ironing all day is all she do at home. She got 6 children, you know. That a fact, he say. He come from behind his desk, lean over my chair. Who your folks? He asks. I tell him my mama's name, grandmama's name, grandpa's name. Who your daddy? He asks. Where you get them eyes? Ain't got no daddy, I say. Come on now, he say. Ain't I seen you before? I say, yes, sir. And one time about 10 years ago, when I was a little girl, you give me a quarter. I sure did appreciate it, I say. I don't remember that, he say. You come by the house with my mama friend, Mr. Jimmy, I say. Squeak look round at all of us, then take a deep breath, mumble. Say what? Asked Odessa. Yeah, said Shug, if you can't tell us, who you gonna tell? God? He took off my hat, say Squeak. Told me to undo my dress. She dropped her head, put her face in her hands. My God, say Odessa, and he your uncle. He say if he was my uncle, he wouldn't do it to me. That'd be a sin. But this just a little fornication. Everybody guilty of that. She turned her face up to Harpo. Harpo, she say, do you really love me? or just my color? Harpo say, I love you, Squeak. He kneeled down and tried to put his arms round her waist. She stand up. My name Mary Agnes, she say. Dear God, 6 months after Mary Agnes went to get Sophia out of prison, she began to sing. First she sang Suge songs. Then she began to make up songs her own self. She got the kind of voice you never think of trying to sing a song. It little, it high, it's sort of meowing. But Mary Agnes don't care. Pretty soon, us get used to it. Then us like it a whole lot. Harpo don't know what to make of it. It seemed funny to me, he say to me and Mister. So sudden. It put me in mind of a gramophone. Sit in the corner a year, silent as the grave. Then you put a record on, it come to life. Wonder if she's still mad Sophia knocked her teeth out, I asked. Yeah, she mad. But what good being mad gonna do? She not evil. She knows Sophia life hard to bear right now. How she get along with the children? Asked Mister. They love her, say Harpo. She let 'em do anything they want. Uh-oh, I say. Besides, he say, Odessa and Sophia other sisters always on hand to take up the slack. They bring up children like military. Squeak sing. They calls me Yellow, like Yellow be my name. They calls me Yellow, like Yellow be my name. But if Yellow is a name, why ain't black the same? Well, if I say, hey, black girl, Lord, she try to ruin my game. Dear God, Sophia say to me today, I just can't understand it. What that, I asked. Why we ain't already killed him off? 3 years after she beat, she out of the wash house, got her color and her weight back, looked like her old self. Just all time think 'bout killing somebody. Too many to kill off, I say. Us outnumbered from the start. I expect we knock over 1 or 2, though, here and there, through the years, I say. We sit on a piece of old crate out near the edge of Miss Millie's yard. Rusty nails stick out along the bottom, and when us move, they creak against the wood. Sophia job to watch the children play ball. The little boy throw the ball to the little girl. She try to catch it with her eyes shut. It roll up under Sophia's foot. Throw me the ball, say the little boy, with his hands on his hip. Throw me the ball. Sophia muttered to herself, half to me, I'm here to watch, not to throw, she say. She don't make a move toward the ball. Don't you hear me talking to you? He shout. He may be 6 years old, brown hair, ice blue eyes. He comes steaming up to where I sit, haul off and kick Sophia's leg. She swing her foot to one side and he scream. What the trouble? I asked. Done stab his foot with a rusty nail, Sophia say. Sure enough, blood come leaking through his shoe. His little sister come watch him cry. He turn redder and redder, call his mama. Miss Millie come running. She scared of Sophia. Every time she talk to her, it's like she expect the worst. She don't stand close to her either. When she get a few yards from where us sit, she motioned for Billy to come there. My foot, he say to her. Sophia do it? She asked. Little girl pipe up. Billy do it his own self, she say, trying to kick Sophia's leg. The little girl dote on Sophia, always stick up for her. Sophia never noticed. She is deep to the little girl as she is to her brother. Miss Millie cut her eyes at her, put one arm round Billy's shoulder, and they limping to the back of the house. Little girl follow, wave bye-bye to us. She seemed like a right sweet little thing, I say to Sophia. Who is? She frowned. The little girl, I say. What they call her? Eleanor Jane? Yeah, say Sophia, with a real puzzled look on her face. I wonder why she was ever born. Well, I say, us don't have to wonder that about darkies. She giggle. Miss Seeley, she say, you just as crazy as you can be. This the first giggle I heard in 3 years.
My apologies. I hope everybody's doing well. Next time I'm gonna start a little bit earlier. It's getting a little late, so I just wanted to play a little bit and then have a quick discussion. There's some parts within here, like I said, I'm listening to it, how we're listening to it. Let me know if I can be heard. And so there's some parts that I wasn't ready for. Uh, definitely some sexually explicit parts that I wasn't ready for in here. But to that, I want to say that's how information is introduced. Sorry, that's how young children, I mean, she's younger, but she's not a child, but that's how children are turned out, let's say. You have somebody like Suge, who I'm gonna call her Suge Knight, you know what I mean? Because she been out and about. Somebody like Suge over here who has been in the streets, who has been around, who is looking to a certain degree, exploit the naivete of Celie. She already, hold on, I'm trying to see if I heard. She already has these inappropriate feelings, misplaced. She's abused, right? And this woman is showing her some type of some type of uh, reciprocity. Remember, her mother dies in the story. We're following along with the story. Her mother dies. Her father or her stepfather is abusive. She has no one. Her sister is gone, the only person who she had a bit of a normal relationship with that we know of, right? So the sister is, I'm trying to make sure I can hear. Hold on a second. That we know of. All right, yeah, I can hear. So the sister is gone at Nettie, and now she is taking the emotions and putting it on another woman. Okay, inappropriate. And then this woman is exploiting that and taking her down a lane where it's real suspect. So yeah, on the surface, just listening to that part right there, I went ahead and skipped through that part because, like I said, children could be listening. I'm not going to be the one, for the sake of our review, that's going to take them down that lane. Not doing it. What else did we see here that we came across? It's interesting that, what is this? They said that this took place. The writer is saying this is 1930s, I believe, 1940s in the South. And Suge is out here in these streets. Um, she said, "Aren't you afraid?" She has what, 3 children for Albert already. She said she would have married him, so that would have been like her first love, but it didn't work out. And she's sexually liberated because she's on the sponge. And if we know about what's happening at that time, we know that Margaret Sanger and the crew are going around promoting uh, birth control and controlling your reproductive nature. So I find it interesting that the author is writing this in and putting that type of flapper, that type of night type woman vibration onto Suge's character. That's also very interesting. Let me see what else we have here. So we have the birth control aspect. We have her just embracing but with not having any real connection to Albert. We have, which is I think that's his name, which is Mr. What else do we have? We have the prize fighter. We have the prize fighter, who is interesting that Sophia, who is this unbreakable character, the quote angry black woman, the one who won't allow you to violate her or violate anyone in her space, that they humble her, right? And they break her. And in doing so, when it's being done, the male is there. But even though he's a prize fighter, I find it interesting. He doesn't have a name. They call him the prize fighter, and he's not able to save and rescue her. So a lot of and we've had these conversations, people have had these conversations. You're looking at why the person cannot, why the relationship is compromised. What are thoughts in her mind, you're looking at what Harpo said should have been done. You look at what Mister says to the European man or the sheriff about Sophia, how he's willing to throw Sophia under the bus. She's crazy because she won't let you abuse her. I don't have any water in here. Basically, that's what they're saying. She's crazy because she won't bow down and let you abuse her and let you exploit her, and so she's the crazy one, right? And so it becomes this Twilight Zone upside down world where the people who stand up for themselves are the troublemakers, and the person who allows themselves to be abused, they are the ones who get praises and applaud. We have to look at how that thing was flipped. Let me see what else we have here. We have yeah, that part right there, she was doing the most. And we have it in today's space and time. I showed a video here about body count, how when asked, some of the women would say, well, this one doesn't count because Suge came with that conversation that, oh, well, then you're a virgin. Clearly, the young girl has been defiled several times and she's not a virgin. But this kind of communication, the way we redefine things, because emotionally we don't connect with what happens, we see that happen in that conversation. So that relationship she has with Suge, I'm gonna call her Suge of the night. That relationship is off. The relationship with her is off. There's a bit of learned helplessness. How many times have men stood by like the prize fighter, unable to save her, knowing that if he steps in, he's gonna get worse. You know who Sophia reminds me of in our readings? She reminds me of Suki, which is the story. There was a story of Suki. That's kind of the character that Sophia has. The person who wouldn't allow you to humble her, wouldn't allow you to exploit her. That's who Sophia reminds me of. And being that back in that time, she was like Suki was an urban legend, there's a possibility that the author kind of built Sophia's character off of that thought process of a Suki. Yeah, and basically, well, she goes to jail and they try to break her spirit in there, but you have two types of people. Here, someone would be broken, and another person would just have to play the humble because there's no right way to be a slave until she can get in a position to feel as though justice can be served, or she can take it in her own hands. Very interesting stuff. Again, like I said, this portion of the book, you can see where people took pause with the language, took pause with whatever you're introducing into the minds of the populace. Because authors, poets, musicians all have to be mindful of what you're introducing. That portion, it may have been done to her. Like I said, you have young cousins, you have older sisters and brothers who go out and get experience and come back and pervert and corrupt and turn out the younger ones. And that's something that you have to be mindful of. And so that's for that reason I didn't want to play that through, not on my channel. You understand? Not for the sake of review. Now I'm good. Anybody have any questions or comments that they would like to share? Let me see, what time is it. Let me play just a little bit more. Let me play a little bit more, and then we'll wind down.
Dear God, Sophia would make a dog laugh talking about those people she worked for. They have the nerve to try to make us think slavery fell through because of us, say Sophia. Blackers didn't have sense enough to handle it. All the time breaking hoe handles and letting the mules loosen the wheat. But how anything they build can last a day is a wonder to me. They backward, she say, clumsy and unlucky. The mayor bought Miss Millie a new car, 'cause she say if colored could have cars, then one for her was past due. So he bought her a car, only he refused to show her how to drive it. Every day he come home from town, he look at her, look out the window at her car, say, "How you enjoying her, Miss Millie?" She'd fly off the sofa in a huff, slam the door going in the bathroom. She ain't got no friends. So one day she say to me, car been sitting out in the yard 2 months, "Sophia, do you know how to drive?" I guess she remembered first seeing me up against Buster Broadnack's car. "Yes, ma'am," I say. I'm slaving away cleaning that big post they got down at the bottom of the stair. They act real funny about that post. No fingerprints are supposed to be on it, ever. Do you think you could teach me? She says. One of Sophia's children break in, the oldest boy. He tall and handsome, all the time serious, and mad a lot. He say, "Don't say slaving, Mama." Sophia say, "Why not? They got me in a little storeroom up under the house, hardly bigger than Odessa's porch, and just about as warm in the wintertime. I'm at they beck and call all night and all day. They won't let me see my children. They won't let me see no men's. Well, after 5 years, they let me see you once a year." "I'm a slave," she say. "What would you call it?" "A captive," he say. Sophia go on with her story. Only look at him like she glad he hers. So I say, "Yes, ma'am, I can teach you, if it's the same kind of car I learned on." Next thing you know, there go me and Miss Millie all up and down the road. First I drive and she watch. Then she start to try to drive and I watch her, up and down the road. Soon as I finish cooking breakfast, putting it on the table, washing dishes and sweeping the floor, and just before I go get the mail out the box down by the road, we go give Miss Millie her driving lesson. Well, after a while, she got the hang of it, more or less. Then she really get it. Then one day, when we come home from riding, she say to me, "I'm going to drive you home." Just like that. "Home?" I asked. "Yeah," she said, "home. You ain't been home or seen your children in a while," she say. "Ain't that right?" I say, "Yes, ma'am. It been 5 years." She say, "That's a shame. You just go get your things right now. Here it is Christmas. Go get your things. You can stay all day." "For all day I don't need nothing but what I got on," I say. "Fine," she say, "fine, well, get in." "Well," say Sophia, "I was so used to sitting up there next to her teaching her how to drive that I just naturally clammed into the front seat." She stood outside on her side of the car, clearing her throat. Finally she said, "Sophia," with a little laugh, "this is the South." "Yes, ma'am," I say. She clear her throat, laugh some more. "Look where you sitting," she say. "I'm sitting where I always sit," I say. "That's the problem," she say. "Have you ever seen a white person and a colored sitting side by side in a car when one of them wasn't showing the other one how to drive it or clean it?" I got out the car, opened the back door, and clammed in. She sat down up front. All of us traveled down the road, Miss Millie hair blowing all out the window. "It's real pretty country out this way," she said.
"I'm on my period right now, and I'm not going to apologize for it."
Say, when we hit the Marshall County Road, coming toward Odessa's house.
Yo, she says she's not going to apologize. My apologies for these commercials. I'm playing it off of YouTube, and these are not the skip ads that won't allow me to skip for some reason. Let me go ahead and press play. Oopsie. Wrong one.
"Yes, ma'am," I say. Then we pull into the yard, and all the children come crowding round the car. Nobody told them I was coming, so they don't know who I is, except the oldest two. They fall on me and hug me, and then all the little ones start to hug me too. I don't think they even noticed I was sitting in the back of the car. Odessa and Jack come out after I was out, so they didn't see it. Us all standing around kissing and hugging each other, Miss Millie just watching. Finally, she leaned out the window and said, "Sophia, you only got the rest of the day. I'll be back to pick you up at 5 o'clock." The children was all pulling me into the house, so sort of over my shoulder I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I thought I heard her drive off. But 15 minutes later, Marion says, "That white lady's still out there." "Maybe she's going to wait to take you back," said Jack. "Maybe she's sick," said Odessa. "You always say how sickly they is." I go out to the car, say Sophia, and guess what the matter is? The matter is she don't know how to do nothing but go forward. And Jack and Odessa's yard too full of trees for that. "Sophia," she say, "how you back this thing up?" I lean over the car window and try to show her which way to move the gears. But she flustered, and all the children and Odessa and Jack all standing round the porch watching her. I go round on the other side, try to explain with my head poked through that window. She's stripping gears aplenty by now. Plus, her nose red, and she looked mad and frustrate both. I climb in the back seat, lean over the back of the front, steady trying to show her how to operate the gears. Nothing happened. Finally, the car stopped making any sound. Engine dead. "Don't worry," I say. "Odessa's husband Jack will drive you home. That's his pickup right there." "Oh," she say, "I couldn't ride in a pickup with a strange colored man." "I'll ask Odessa to squeeze in too," I say. That would give me a chance to spend a little time with the children, I thought. But she said, "No, I don't know her neither." So it ended up with me and Jack driving her back home in the pickup. Then Jack driving me to town to get a mechanic. And at 5 o'clock, I was driving Miss Millie's car back to her house. I spent 15 minutes with my children. And she been going on for months about how ungrateful I is. White folks is a miracle of affliction, say Sophia.
That was interesting. She said a miracle of affliction. Sophia's situation is very interesting. I keep saying that. Let's say very peculiar. Very peculiar. Basically, what I found interesting as this woman is talking, the Miss Millie lady, is that you saw her with her children, and you saw her in a position where she didn't need to come and ask you to be employed, right? In Miss Millie's case, usually in the South, if you couldn't find work or gainful employment, you would go ask someone, are they hiring? She didn't ask you. She wasn't in need. She was driving. She had a man. She had their children was well put together, and you took it upon yourself to offer her. And in your mind, she should jump at the opportunity. You want to be my maid? And she's like, no, I don't want to be a maid, right? And so for the very thought of denying the gratuitousness of Miss Millie, she's in this predicament. So that's something to look at and to consider as this story is unfolding, and how now they put her in a position, although she did have a temper, to where now her children are motherless, and she's not able to be there. And the littlest thing that is being done, one should be able to jump up and down. Listen, it was on Christmas. She felt the Christmas spirit. She didn't realize she hadn't seen her children in 5 years. Like, how do you know this woman didn't see her children in 5 years? And you can't do anything without her. And this oftentimes was the sentiment, that the children of the melanated woman were secondary, because she needed to go out there and work. She needed to go out there and take care of other people's households, and her household came second. There was any questions or comments, feel free to ask. There was a article I saw one time. I'm gonna try to go get it right now so I can show it to you. There was an article, I think it was out of South Carolina, And it was in the early 1900s where the European women, kind of like Miss Millie, because some people may be like, this is not historically accurate. Okay. They were upset because there was a time like what we saw with Sophia where they didn't have to work because they were being, entrepreneurial, things of that nature. And this came out. I found it here. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. I'm going to save this 1 second so I can put it on the screen and show it to you. And this is a real article so that we can kind of connect the dots with this historical fiction and put it to some of the things that was going on in history. So 1 second. Let me put it here. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. And I see I lost some subscribers. I lost some subscribers off of that last video with a piece of the Most High be with us all. If I lost some subscribers off of that, then made a piece. Sometimes when we get convicted of whatever it is that we may be doing and we don't want to hear it, it's YouTube. You click a button to subscribe, you click a button to unsubscribe. It is what it is, but not at the expense of sin in my soul will I not speak to what's going on. All right, here it is. This is one of the articles I came across. It says Negro women to be put to work. City ordinance soon be passed requiring them to be regularly employed. Remember in Sophia's case, she is good. She ain't asking nobody for nothing. She has a man. Harpo has a new girl. They have 6 children. And Miss Millie wants to come and push herself. Many complaints. Regardless of whether they want to or have to, able-bodied Negro women in Greenville who, you hear what it says? Regardless of whether they want to or have to. So I don't have to. It doesn't matter. Able-bodied Negro women in Greenville who are not regularly employed are to put to work, put in jail, or fined heavily. This is a real article. It is specific. It's at its special meeting yesterday afternoon. City Council discussed the situation with regard to this class of loafers at some length, and it seemed that all members of council were agreed that steps should be taken to compel them to engage in some useful occupation. So at this time, there was no welfare. At the time this article is being written, there is no welfare. If they're not eating, they're just not eating. If they're not living, but somebody's complaining. I wonder who. Can I be heard? Because I'm over here having, oh no, I can be heard. Hold on 1 second. I can be heard. Okay. All right. It says, where are we? It was decided that an ordinance similar to the one now in force requiring all able-bodied men to work at least 5 days per week. So I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Can you see it now? Nyasha, tell me if you can see it now. It should be on the screen. It should be on the screen. Let me get the other one now. So they were complaining. Europeans were like Miss Millie and the crew were coming together. Oh, they're not working. They're not in our houses. They're not cleaning, whatever it is. And so they're going to forcefully try to make you work. In jail or fined heavily. At the special meeting yesterday afternoon, City Council discussed the situation with regard to this class of loafers at some length, and it seemed that all members of council were agreed that steps should be taken to compel them to engage in some useful occupation. It was decided that an ordinance similar to the one now in force requiring all able-bodied men to work at least 5 days per week should be passed with regard to these women. Listen. Such an ordinance will be prepared and voted on at the next regular meeting of council. A number of complaints have come to members of council of Negro women who are not at work and who refuse employment when it is offered. What just happened in the book? Miss Millie, is offering employment. And Sophia is like, I don't need to work for you. I'm good. Right? And she's like, what you say, gal? And then they get into a tussle, okay, over the fact that she denied your offer, which she had the right to. But the moral of the story was, at this place in time, the thought was that you did not have the right to deny. Let's continue. Where am I? And refuse employment when it is offered. The result being that it is exceedingly difficult for families who need cooks and laundresses to get them. What did they send her to jail to become? What did Miss Millie want her to become? So because I don't want to work for you, I'm denying, like, you could work for yourself, like there's that option. You can take care of your own home, that there's that option. But in this space and time, Sally, oftentimes the melanated body wasn't seen as someone outside of the work that they were doing for the European or the dominant culture. This is a real ordinance. I gotta get I'm gonna get the actual date on this. It says here, wives of colored soldiers. So this had to be around World War I time. Wives of colored soldiers getting a monthly allowance from the government have a number of them declined to work on the ground that they get along without working, according to reports. How dare you? How dare you say your husband is finally making enough for you not to have to go? How dare you not go out there and work for me? How dare you? This is what we're hearing. The entitlement. It's entitlement, right? Others have flatly refused jobs without giving a reason. Now, if you decline a job, you have to tell me why. What? While still others pretend that they are employed, when as a matter of fact, they derive a living for illegitimate means. If this is after World War I, there was a lot of people deriving a living from illegitimate means. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying the entitlement to how you're eating, the fact that you deny working for me, all of these things are an offense that they're going to have meetings for and councils about and actually pass ordinances. It goes on to say the proposed ordinance will require them all, meaning the Negroes, to carry a labor identification card showing that they are regularly and usefully employed. It didn't say that they were breaking into your homes. It didn't say that they were stealing your stuff. It didn't say that they were looting. It said that some of the women said that their husbands were soldiers and that they were good. It didn't say that they was trashing the town. It didn't say you don't have any proof, but you don't want to work for me, so I'm going to put new laws and regulations into place. So them, meaning the Negro, to carry labor identification cards showing they are regularly and usefully employed. And the labor inspector and police were charged with the duty of rigidly enforcing the law. So what the part that we just read in this book is historically accurate concerning, I think this, what is it, Greenville Negro women put to work. Let me get the exact time and date for you guys. Then I'm gonna wrap it up. Hold on. This is a newspaper clipping. Oh, you ready? Greenville, South Carolina, October the 7th, 1918. This is a newspaper clipping, and I'll give you where it's coming from. This was in the Greenville News. This was in the Greenville News in Greenville, South Carolina, October the 2nd, 1918. Okay? So, historical and factual. That Sophia would have possibly been in the same situation where denying being offered a job was seen as an offense. CRT asserts, what's going on, sweetie? Per an article from Dr. Tommy Curry, that Black people in the U.S. are not citizens but subjects. That's what this reminds me of. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read that article. That's interesting, but yeah, this sounds like your subject. This sounds like subject. This doesn't sound like seeing the person as entitled to having any level of autonomy entitled to making choice. If you do something that the person doesn't like, they just run to a meeting and make a new rule. They're like, oh, look what they're over there doing. Let's go make some new rules. They had a whole council meeting. Some Miss Millie was up in the council meeting complaining that you don't want to work, and you don't want to work for her, or you don't want to tell her why you don't want to work for her, and who's going to cook her food and clean her house. And now I'm going to put all of these new laws because you have no ability to establish yourself for yourself and have it benefit yourself or your people or your community. Very fascinating, very interesting. So that's that. If anybody has anything else to say, feel free to do so. We like to tie it in. Like I said before, if you came in late, that early part of the book, I cannot vouch for. Suge was out here being Suge of the night. She was trying to turn out Celie, in my estimation. These are my words. She was trying to turn out Celie, right? And Celie is already, she needs some counseling. And Sugar of the Night is over there trying to turn Celie out. I had to skip some parts because I'm not about to be playing that over these airwaves. Um, you can listen to that at your own discretion. And yeah, that's that right there. So we'll come back again. Let me see where we are so I can write this down. Hopefully I'll start earlier. I was doing some reading, so the time got away. Okay, we had 2:38:31. All right, we'll come back within this week and we'll go talk about it more. All right. Everybody have a blessed day or a blessed night, and we'll talk again soon.